Hello and welcome to another edition of the Cleveland Browns Dog Pound South podcast. I'm your host, Steve Gill. How about them elves? Cleveland is Cleveland. You'll have to excuse my voice. I spent the game with the Middle Tennessee Browns backers at the Nashville Palace. If you saw my pregame, 5-minute quick pregame show, that's where I was. I love that bar. It was great. Good crowd. We had over 200 people. Place was packed. And I tend to yell a lot while I'm at the sports bar. When I watch games at home, I don't do it because it scares my dog, and I don't want to scare my dog. But great outcome. Let's start with the bad news. Jack Conklin, torn MCL and ACL. He's going to have season-ending injury, so now it's the Dawg Jones show at right tackle, and it couldn't come at a more treacherous spot. He's going to have to go up against TJ Watt on Monday night, but he's got the entire week to prepare. Last time TJ Watt went up against a rookie offensive tackle, he had four sacks. So that might change a little of how they play. I still think the Browns should go out and get a veteran. The perfect one would be Dennis Kelly. He's available. He's a swing tackle. He can play both tackles, and I would do it. He played in Philly, kind of a similar offensive system. So that's what I would do if I was Andrew Berry. But I'm not Andrew Berry. I don't make the money and make the kinds of decisions that he makes. So let's get to the game. Game was started slow. The weather definitely had something to do with the way both quarterbacks played. Although Joe Burrow had another problem. That was the Browns defense. T. Higgins did not catch one pass. Think about that. Lamar Chase, 5 catches, 39 yards. Cleveland is Cleveland, Mr. Chase. So the secondary good. The linebackers were good. The defensive line was spectacular. Jim Schwartz showed what he is going to do with this defense. He moved players around constantly on that. The Bengals and all their talk of how their new offensive line was going to be great because they added one player and moved their worst tackle to the other side. We found that out early, very first play of the game. Zadarius Smith got to Joe Burrow, didn't sack him, but hit his arm as he was throwing the ball. There you go. That set the tempo for the defense for the entire game. Tackling was very good. When Cincinnati, it looked like Cincinnati finally decided not to put Joe Burrow and not to have him throw the ball. And they ran the ball a lot, and they had success. But, Browns finally shut it down. They held the Bengals to 3 points. Joe Burrow had his worst passer rating in the NFL, in his NFL career. You can't run on this team. You can't pass on this team. That's what it is. The offense, like I said, the weather did affect Deshaun Watson. Although I think he was a little bit hyped up. It kind of reminded me, the beginning of the game kind of reminded me of the first game back against Houston last year, where he was a little tense and trying to overdo things. But he made plays when he had to. That first touchdown before the half, that was an audible. He has the option to call his own plays because he knows the offense. And he saw the way the Cincinnati defense was lined up. So what did he do? He called an audible, had 4 wide receivers to his right, and did the draw. That was a good play call by him. Perfect time for it, as a matter of fact, because they had they had the Elijah Moore run, which turned around, and Cincinnati sniffed it out immediately, and then Elijah Moore went the other way. Then they had another conversion, DPJ on the sideline again. Donovan Peoples-Jones may not be flashy, but he's productive, and he makes big plays when you need big plays. So that was a nice little drive. The second touchdown, they got the benefit of the 4th and 4 that Cincinnati tried to convert, and Myles Garrett came up big. Now, some people say, well, he only had 2 tackles. Yeah, one was a sack and one was a tackle for a loss. I'll take that any day of the week. You saw on the offense, Deshaun Watson used his legs. Over his career, I think he averages 5.5 carries per game. He had 5 carries, so he was right on the money. There were a few problems with the offensive line. Jedrick Wills is still making a few mistakes here and there. And there was one play that Deshaun got sandwiched, bloodied his nose, and while they were in timeout, he came over to the sideline. And what does he do? After that, boom, 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 3 straight plays. Three straight big plays. That's what franchise quarterbacks do. Nick Chubb was Nick Chubb. He, prior to this game, in 9 games, he had 797 yards with 8 touchdowns, a 5.08 average per carry, and, 5 100-yard games. Well, let's make it 6. Nick Chubb was just Nick Chubb. He was catching the ball well. The Browns overall with Jerome Ford, and I know he fumbled on his first carry, but I'm really glad that Coach Stefanski went back to him. You got to have 2 backs. I believe they rushed for over 200 yards against Cincinnati. Like I said, they need to find better plays for bad weather days. I'm glad to see Kevin Stefanski in the second half finally say, okay, let's just quit passing the ball and give the ball to Nick Chubb. That would have been probably a good thing to do last year when they played New Orleans in that bad weather game. So that showed me that Kevin Stefanski has grown as a coach. What else? Special teams. How about it? Dustin Hopkins. He doesn't try to overkick the ball. I think that's what Cade York's problem was. He would try to kick it out of the stadium. He thought if he kicked it, the harder he kicked it, the more accurate he would be. Dustin Hopkins looks like he is just, okay, yeah, let's go make a 43-yard field goal. Woo, yay. Right down the middle on all of them, and his extra point. Good day for special teams coverage units. Saw a lot of good tackles. I'm glad that Stefanski, I can't remember what quarter it was. I think it was third quarter. It was 4th and 2 from, I believe, somewhere around their own 40. In the past, he might have thought about going for it. He didn't. He let the punter pin Cincinnati deep and play field position. I love it. Good. You can't get all those 4th downs all the time. So I think this team showed that they have changed the atmosphere. The crowd sounded fantastic. I mean, on TV, it just sounded like the old days back in the mid late 80s when that old stadium was rocking. I know the Bengals will probably get better. The last couple of years have started slow, but I just don't see the reasoning for having Joe Burrow play when he wasn't, 100%. I mean, if you watch the game, they showed him on the sideline in the first quarter on a stationary bike. Then after another unsuccessful series, they showed him with one of those large rubber band things stretching out his leg. Then after another poor series, they showed him on the sideline rubbing his knee. On a wet, sloppy field, you're going to have your franchise quarterback out there. And I'm glad they finally ran up the white flag with about 5 minutes left and put in the rookie Browning, because you weren't going to win Cincinnati. Sorry, you weren't. Let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back. All right. Because I was at the Nashville Palace, all the majority of the TVs were on the Browns-Cincinnati game, but there were a few. One was on NFL Game Day, which shows highlights from each game as they happen. So I got to watch a little of the Baltimore game, Cincinnati's next opponent. Also got to watch some of the Steelers game, Browns' next opponent. As for Baltimore, Lamar didn't look that good. Zay Flowers did. 9 catches on 10 targets. They lost J.K. Dobbins probably for the year. So I don't know. I think Lamar passed for 146 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 1 interception. That offense is going to struggle for a while. They're not in sync yet with the new offense. As for Pittsburgh, was it Pittsburgh not that good, or was it San Francisco really good? I mean, the Browns host the 49ers week 6, so that's something to keep in the back of your mind. But Kenny Pickett sacked 5 times, threw a couple picks, I think. They were down 17 to nothing before it was the end of the first quarter. That they are going to be very angry Monday night when the Browns come in. And I'm kind of glad that after the Browns played Cincinnati, they get to go to Pittsburgh. This will definitely get this team's attention. There's no resting on laurels when you have to go play in Pittsburgh, a place where you haven't won, and I'm not counting the playoff game, even though you should, but a regular season game since Tim Couch was the quarterback. So it's been a while. 20 years since a quarterback's gone in there in the regular season and won a game. So basically, it was a great game one. First time they won at home season opener since 2004. They are now 1-0 along with the Ravens. Next week, Cincinnati hosts the Ravens. You got to kind of root for Cincinnati. And then if the Browns can beat Pittsburgh, they'll be the only undefeated team in the AFC North. So it's 1-0 each week. And the players will have tomorrow and Wednesday off. Usually they come back on Wednesday, but they'll practice Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Probably do a walkthrough on Sunday. Game balls. Why not? Let's do some game balls. Defense. I could go with numerous players. Denzel Ward showed up and played well. Grant Delpit. I think this was his best game as a Brown. Of course, Myles Garrett. Phenomenal. But I got to give it to Zadarius Smith. He set the tone right at the first play by getting to Joe Burrow and knocking the ball loose as he was throwing him. That set the tone on offense. I'm going to give it to Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb was just Nick Chubb. And I'm glad Kevin Stefanski realized, hey, bad weather. Let's just feed him till they stop him. And they just couldn't stop him. So I'm going to give that. And special teams, Dustin Hopkins, the new kicker. It looked so at ease. Everybody was holding their breath when he was lining up for that first field goal. I know I was. I almost closed my eyes and didn't look at the screen. But kid's good. And he's a veteran kicker, so he knows how to kick. He didn't let the stadium get in his head. He talked to Phil Dawson earlier in the week, and Phil gave him some tips. So very happy for that. So next game, Monday Night Football. at Pittsburgh. Like I said, a place the Browns haven't won in a long time during the regular season. If the attitude and culture has changed in Cleveland because of the defense, we will find out. We will find out in that game. I expect. I was really one other thing. I was really surprised Jim Schwartz blitzed a little more than I thought he was. You don't really blitz Joe Burrow. He plays better when he's blitzed, but he was kind of like a one-legged quarterback. So Schwartz just rolled the dice. I mean, he blitzed Delpit. I saw him blitz Denzel Ward, but the pressure worked. They only sacked him twice. Now he's 0-5 versus Cleveland when he's been sacked 2 or more times against the Browns. He didn't throw any interceptions, so he stopped that streak. Amazingly, the Browns win this game while losing the turnover ratio. That just shows you how good this defense is. If the offense gives the ball up, the defense comes out and stops them. And holds them. 3 points is all they got out of 2 turnovers. So I'm very happy with that. But again, since AFC North, Cincinnati has to host Baltimore. We'll find out exactly how much that new Baltimore offense is going to work. And, of course, the Browns, as we all know, go to Pittsburgh on a Monday night prime time, where the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be angry as hell. So that's it for today. That's all my voice can take. Next week, I'll be able to do a podcast without my voice hurting because, again, I'll watch it at home. So that's it for today. Enjoy Victory Monday, and let's go Browns and go Elves.